What's up, everybody? Chester ARP Church Devotional Podcast. Hey, thank you so much for joining us this morning as we read through the book of Ezra. We are in Ezra chapter 5, beginning in verse 1. Now the prophets, Haggai and Zechariah, the son of Iddu, prophesied to the Jews who were in Judah and Jerusalem, in the name of God of Israel, who was over them. Then Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, arose and began to rebuild the house of God that is in Jerusalem, and the prophets of God were with them, supporting them. At the same time, Tattenai, the governor of the province beyond the river, and Shethar, Bozenai, and their associates came to them and spoke to them thus: Who gave you a decree to build this house and to finish this structure? And they also asked them this: What are the names of the men who are building this building? But the eye of their God was on the elders of the Jews, and they did not stop until the report should reach Darius, and then an answer be returned by letter concerning it. So at the conclusion of chapter 4, the people of God are told in Jerusalem to stop building the temple by King Artaxerxes. They did stop rebuilding the temple. In fact, they let it lay fallow for a number of years after they received that decree from King Artaxerxes that they are to cease building the new temple. The foundation was laid. They had begun to rebuild it, but then they were told to cease doing that. And so they did. Then the prophets of Haggai and Zechariah, which are two Old Testament prophets, we call them minor prophets because of their length, they show up and say, what are you doing? God uses those prophets to say, what are you doing? Why are you sitting here not building the house of God? Why are you not doing what God sent you back to do? And God basically says to them through the prophets Haggai and Zechariah, why are you not doing what I sent you back to do? Why are you being so lazy and delayed and not doing the work that I have given you to do? And so they have no answer. And so basically God says, get back to work. It's time to get back to work and finish this task. And so they do. They start work. Zerubbabel and Jeshua begin the work of the house of God, get the laborers back together. They organize it. They start the work back. And in response to God's command on their life, in response to God's challenge in their lives, they get up and they go back to work. They're to be commended for that. At the same time, Tattenai, the governor of the province beyond the river, and Shethar, Bozenai, and the associates came to them and spoke to them and said, wait, who told you could build this temple back? Last we heard, King Artaxerxes said, stop. You guys are starting back up. Basically, the Jews are doing what Christians have done and God's people have done throughout centuries, and that is they are going to listen to the civil magistrate as long as the civil magistrate does not require them to disobey God. If there is a controversy between obeying God and the civil magistrate, obeying God always wins. And so they said, well, we're going to build this temple back, and basically the governor and others say, hey, who told you could do this stuff? Then the governor says, we want to know who is responsible for leading this work. Who is responsible for doing this work? Verse 5 is one of those verses that stands out in the Bible because verse 5 says, but the eye of their God was on the elders of the Jews, and they did not stop them until the report should reach Darius, and then an answer be returned by letter concerning it. So basically there was a conversation, probably a negotiation between the Jewish leaders and the governor and his associates, and the negotiation went in such a way that God's people were allowed to continue building their temple to the glory of God, and this was organized by the providence of God. As we're told, the eye of the Lord was upon them, and so they were allowed to continue building the temple until word could be sent to Darius and a response received. In other words, we're going to send word to the king and say, you're rebuilding this temple. Is it okay? And then when we receive the word from the king, if it is to cease, you will cease. If it is to continue, you will continue. But you do not have to stop until word gets back to us, which is a remarkable thing because God is working and God still works that way. And when he calls us to obedience, we have to trust him to organize and orchestrate all things in accordance with his will and the good of his people to accomplish that which he has caused us to do, or he has called us to do. And so in this particular case, he has called them to serve, he has called them to work, he has called them to build the temple, and he is working to ensure that they are enabled to do that. God still works the exact same way. We trust him, we stand firm on what he has called us to do, and we trust him in his providential grace to order all things in accordance with his will to accomplish his purposes for his people. This is a remarkable thing. Who told you to do it? Well, God told us to do it through the prophets. They're doing it. Well, you shouldn't be doing this, the governor says. Well, we are doing it. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to send word to Darius, and I'm going to receive his response. Well, you do that, the people of God said, but we're going to keep building until we get that response to stop and that decree from Darius. And so the governor says, okay, that's cool, because God's eye was upon them. His eye is always upon his people. His eye upon you. His eye is upon his church, and he is accomplishing his will. You guys take care. God bless you. I'll see you next time.